just like how the percentage distance. And now what I can do is, let's talk about the angles. Now we still looked at the start angle. Okay, now we looked at the start angle over here. What we did is, it just tells us from which side, from which direction, from how much it should, where the starting point, starting sector of starting line of the particular slice have to be. And what counterclockwise does is that, this option does is that it tells me how the subsequent places should be placed. For instance, if I put this to be false, by default it is by default it is true. So if I put this counterclockwise option to be true, check this out. By default, all the counterclockwise, all the pieces are placed in counterclockwise sense. They are stacked up in a counterclockwise sense. So that's how it is. Now if I put them to be false, and now if I run this particular code over here, check this out. Now all the now the arch Linux, the first entry starts at 90 degrees, perfect, but it grows along the clockwise direction. So this actually is helpful. And then now what we can do is, we can actually explode a particular piece. For instance, all this time in the chart, all the pieces were actually stuck together. And if I enable this explodes option, check this out. You will notice that this particular piece that corresponds to Ubuntu has that particular slice has been taken out, and it's given a little more emphasis over here. This is possible because of this explodes option. So if I look at this explodes array, by default it has 10 values and all of the 10 values are 0, and then I set up the second entry, which is actually which has an index 1. I set it to an offset of 0.1. Thereby the second entry or the entry with index 1, which is actually Ubuntu over here, that is separated out from the center by a factor of by a distance of 0.1 units. Now if I set this to, let's say, 0.2, set this to 0.2, now you can see that this is even pushed out, this slice has been cut out and pushed out even significantly further. Okay, similarly, if I want to take out multiple slices and now push them in multiple, give them multiple offsets from the center, I can do accordingly. Now this will actually make sure that the Ubuntu slice, Xubuntu slice and the Kubuntu slices are separated out from the center by a factor of 0.1, 0.2 and 0.3. And now if I run this, you can clearly see that the Ubuntu slice, Xubuntu slice and the Kubuntu slice are separated from the center by a substantial amount. Okay, and now what we're going to do is, now we'll just comment out these lines. This is for illustration. Okay, now I comment out these lines, and then let's add a shadow to this figure, and that will be almost the last of it. And now if you see, in all the earlier pie charts there weren't any shadow. Now there is a small bit of shadow towards all the pieces over here, and they appear neatly. Then they're appearing neatly. Okay, this gives a small shadow effect. And then finally we have an option to enable a frame. And now if I do this, there will be a frame around it, but although it doesn't, by default it's false, so let me put this as true, and let's see how this frame comes out to be. Now you have a frame around it. The only thing is that you have to set up the axis so that the figure is drawn perfectly. And now for that what I have to do is, let's see, I have to put the axis command on the top. So if I put plt dot axis, and then I set the value to be -1, not -1, minus 1.5 comma 1.5, and then minus 1.5 comma 1.5. If I put this, there we go. Now if you see, you have a proper axis. Now you have a proper frame box over here because of the axis option. Okay. Now if I put this to be false, will I get that frame? No, you don't get that frame. although you get it properly made up, but once if I put this access option over here, you will get a frame accordingly. So if I put this to true, do I get the not true, not again, come on. Now I get a good box around, perfect. And this also indicates that the center is at 0, 0. Okay. And now the other thing, the one last thing that I want to talk to you all about today is let's see, let me comment out all this. The last thing I want to talk to you all today is by adding what you call as percentage and the number, both of them together. Now I couldn't find a way from myself to do it. So let me uncomment out these lines. So I couldn't actually write my own code because I couldn't understand how this is done. So what I've done here is I have taken this particular piece of code. Okay, I need this to be commented out. So there is this particular small bit of function that I found this in this particular page in Stack Overflow, and I've used this over here. And the only difference only thing that is different from this particular arrangement or configuration is this line over here. Instead of giving a direct format, I'm just giving make underscore auto PCT and users. I'm giving that. And this make underscore auto PCT is actually a function which takes the values. And inside it we are actually calculating the sums, and we're calculating the values using the PCTs that are present over here. Alright, and now this also gives me the format in which the data has to be present. And now if I run this particular piece of code, and there we go. Now inside the brackets we have the numbers as well, and outside the brackets we have the percentages as well. Okay, and now usually this is actually done. With this we are actually done. The one more correction we have to do is either add plt.axis with an aspect ratio equal to 1. Okay, you have to add this at the above the figure. Okay, either add plt.axis with aspect equals 1 before the figure, or you put plt.axis equal, and now you run this particular code. Now this pie chart is perfectly circular. If you put the aspect ratio to be 1, or if you give equal weightage to the axis, the plot becomes perfectly circular. And sometimes you might like to have this in elliptical format. In those kind of cases, you can take your judgment and do it accordingly. Okay, and this way this is what you have for the pie chart. And now if you look at how this pie chart actually looks in different styles. For instance, this is all this we looked at in default style. Now let's look at it in classical style. And now I guess for this example I think I'll prefer the default style, because this is okay. The colors are neat and all. Okay, the font is a bit odd. On the other hand, I think I'll prefer the default because of the background color and the fonting. There we go. This is how it looks in default. Let's look at it in ggplot. And now if I run this, not much different. The fonts are slightly modified, but nevertheless nothing much different. And this way you can actually experiment and play with this as per your choice. And now this code over here, this particular function over here is actually taken from this web page. So let me just show you. I found this in the Stack Overflow website, wherein somebody asked, I guess it's Kim asked like how to use Matplotlib with the auto PCT option. And this person over here, Unudbu, he or she, I don't know what gender it is anyway. Sorry, what the gender of the person is. Sorry. This person has made the plot perfectly, made the plot, and actually made it in such a good manner. And he or she made this function over here that will not only calculate the percentage, it will also put the number inside it, thereby making it more how do I put it, more understandable. Thereby making it more understandable. Now With this said, that's all I have for you all in this video. This is actually one exhaustive look at pie charts that is available in Matplotlib. That's all I have for you all in this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time in another interesting video. Till then, take care.